Donald Trump's not going to be able to shut down his way out of all of his losing streak at the district court level or his manipulation of the FBI and the Department of Justice to do his bidding. We cover it all, the shutdown, the impact on the justice system, how federal judges are fighting back on the Legal AF podcast. And here's a clip.
I want to turn it over to you to frame we'll get to Patel in a bit, frame the issue though of the shutdown and its consequences.
All right. First of all, staying on the same topic of we don't have an adult in the room, and the Trump administration made a calculated decision that has backfired, that they would try to exploit the shutdown, having no intention of negotiating in good faith with the Democratic leadership to avoid the shutdown for those around the world. We're not out of money, but more money has to be appropriated in order to keep the government operating. We've run out of money on a prior appropriation. And normally this leads to policy discussions. And when there's adults on both sides of the equation, which there isn't now, we have a policy discussion in public about how to fix things like the bill that was shoved down the Democrats' throat and the American people's throat to make them suffer, to have Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, things related to helping seniors and children ripped out of the budget and to hold them politically accountable. That's how we got here. And so there's just certain things that are worth the fight. Even when the Democrats knew that if this goes 10 or 30 or 50 days or whatever it could be, that Donald Trump would try to exploit it. The Democrats made their own political calculus that it would backfire. And the more that Donald Trump tried to exploit, the more it would backfire politically on him. And it's going exactly according to plan. Donald Trump, of course, is helping the Democrats and giving them a gift a minute. When you have things like, I want to just play, we'll do two quick things before I get to what's happening now off the shutdown that the Democrats and courts and judges and parties are using to their advantage against the shutdown that overwhelmingly in new polling, rapid polling, the Americans are blaming Donald Trump for. So when you phone into the White House, you get Caroline Levitt, on the answering on the voicemail, and here's what she says: politically propaganda and sloganeering in violation of the Hatch Act. Let's play it.
Thank you for calling the White House comment line. Hello, America. This is White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt. Democrats in Congress have shut down the federal government because they care more about funding health care for illegal immigrants than they care about serving you, the American people. Until Democrats vote for the clean, Republican-backed continuing resolution to reopen the government, the White House is unable to answer your call or respond to your questions. We look forward to hearing from you again very soon. And in the meantime, please know President Trump will never stop fighting for you. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right. Not only is that a Hatch Act violation and likely a violation of anti-deficit laws, because they're continuing to spend money for political sloganeering, which you're not allowed to do on the public dole. She has a job to do. She's getting paid by taxpayer dollars, as is all the other departments and agencies, which have posted snarky emails and messages, or even gone in the case of the Department of Education, gone in and changed emails and outgoing email messages for employees in order to make this coarse political point that's actually boomeranging against them. It's gotten so bad, speaking about a lack of adults in the room, that Donald Trump, from one of his social media accounts, thought it was funny to post an AI-generated image of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. We've seen the original press conference. Let's just show a short clip of that.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit.
Right. Okay. With Hakeem Jeffries in some sort of stereotypical tropey Mexican garb. So it's racist. It's obviously no one would think that's actually Chuck Schumer talking it's scary though, how AI can do your voice that way. But that's what the president of the United States is doing when he's not trying to lobby over the next 6 days, the Nobel Peace Prize Committee and the Norwegian parliament to give him the Nobel Peace Prize, which was what all of that ordering of Israel to stop bombing Gaza, which they quickly ignored, was all about, announcing a peace deal that doesn't yet exist because he's trying to win the award on the 10th of October. That's what the President America First of the United States is doing. So in response, there are impacts of the shutdown and ways to hold Donald Trump responsible. I mean, the Democrats are getting very good at counterpunching Donald Trump. You did a great video. I did a version of my own about where's the 17 trillion, Donald. It either came in and you're hiding it from the American people, from all the nations that invested in America off of the tariffs, or you're bullshitting America, and we're going to call you out on your BS. And I think that we know it's the latter. So you have first, you've got what's going on in the courts. Criminal cases like Comey apparently are going forward, and they're even wasting money violating the Department of Justice media guidelines principles about perp walks on the criminal side. But there are hundreds, 300 or more civil cases in federal courts around the country, as we all know, because we cover them so extensively, brought by groups like the Attorneys General in California and the 23 Blue Attorneys General, the ACLU, Democracy Forward. They're all with us and collaborating with us over on Legal AF as well. And those suits, are starting to be stayed, meaning they're going to extend the time, like Judge Boasberg just did in DC, extend the time to match the length of the shutdown for the government to respond to the lawsuit. It doesn't stop the filing of new lawsuits. It doesn't stop the filing of emergency applications, and which will be put in a special category. But like all those cases we've talked about civil rights and the National Guard and voting rights and big law firms and attacks on education, they're kind of in a slowdown mode because the government is out of money. Again, this is an attempt by Donald Trump to change the weather in the room and hit the emergency brake because he's doing his Trump presidency is a train wreck. It's one we can neither look away from nor look at, and he knows it. And so, hey, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is about to come out with the new job numbers that the Federal Reserve needs in order to set interest rates. I have an idea. Let's shut down the government and we won't issue the report. How convenient. Except all the private entities around our economy, like the payroll services and others, have issued their reports and said, you are not creating any new jobs and we're in trouble. And so he's got to deal with that. So courts are starting to issue standing orders of the chief judges of their federal district courts to give the Department of Justice a little bit of breathing room on the civil side. Doesn't affect, apparently, that's a good question. I'm not sure what's happening at the United States Supreme Court because the Solicitor General's got to show up the first Monday of October for a case about transgender rights. And I haven't received any notice. I'm going to look back up on the Supreme Court website. I haven't received any notice that the first Monday of October with the new term has been canceled due to the shutdown. That's an interesting question, though. Is that an essential service that has to happen? So you've got that going on. Then you've got the lawsuits that have been filed by the major federal worker labor unions in the Northern District of California, which are calling out Donald Trump's efforts, along with Russ Vought, the head of the Office of Management and Budget and the architect of Project 2025, to shrink further the federal government, which means destroy further the relationship between the American people and the federal funding and programs that they desperately need. Because this administration, if anything, does not care about the American people. All it cares about is increasing their suffering. So if the economy across the board wasn't causing enough suffering and the immigration policy linked to that wasn't doing it for them, you have Russ Vought trying to kill transportation programs and public works programs, but only in blue states. They're trying to hire women and blacks in. I'm like, okay, then where's the problem? So they're trying to use the smokescreen and exploit the shutdown to shrink the government further. And the Federal Workers Union has run into court to say, well, how can you implement and execute the RIF, the reduction in force, the firings? That violates the anti-defamation, anti-deficit laws. That violates many aspects of the government shutdown and calling them out for that. And then you've got the public watchdogs who are filing dozens of Hatch Act violation notices because of the websites and the voicemails that we played at the top of this segment, because they are all in violation of the Hatch Act. Now, the problem we have with that, which is the law that says that while you're on the government dime and doing the taxpayer, you're supposed to be providing honest service to the taxpayers, not politicking. You're supposed to be nonpartisan at your job. If you're politicking, which is all that we've been watching, you violate the Hatch Act. If you're found guilty of it, you could be barred from federal service for 5 years, Caroline Levitt, and a fine. It usually starts with the Office of Special Counsel, but right now that's been furloughed and doesn't have a permanent head because of Donald Trump, among other problems. But eventually the federal courts are going to get involved with these Hatch Act violations. And I'll just end the segment this way, Ben. Recall that they were investigating prosecutor Jack Smith for violating the Hatch Act because he did his job to get and to do an investigation and obtain indictments against Donald Trump. And they said that was election interference instead of trying to bring Donald Trump to justice.
So this is why Donald Trump and MAGA wants to rig this midterm election so badly. They've known they violated so many laws, and for a lot of them, Donald Trump may be able to assert absolute immunity for himself, although I've argued in other videos based on a lot of his posting and posting on his social media platform, Truth Social, which is named that way in a very Russian and dystopian way, and based on the fact that a lot of his statements are tied to campaign fundraising, because he's still campaigning right now, and he sends these emails out, give me money, give me money, give me money. That to me is going to be outside some of that absolute immunity ruling from the United States Supreme Court. But regardless, it's obviously going to be tougher cases there against Trump. His people around him don't have absolute immunity. So they're engaging in crimes against humanity, war crimes that we're seeing them brag about, war crimes within the United States, the way ICE is behaving. I mean, let's just face it, these are war crimes going on in the United States. All these other people right now, because of the DOJ being utterly destroyed, they feel that they have immunity. But the reality is that there's criminal conduct taking place, my opinion, and I think the American people see it. I think the American people see the lawlessness and they despise it.
Welcome back. We sit at the intersection of law and politics so that you don't have to. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network and on audio podcast platforms of your choice like Spotify and Apple. Help keep us at the top of the charts by leaving 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify, and watching us on YouTube, taking the clip and sending it off to people in your life. And if you're on the Midas Touch Network or the Legal AF YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and also help us with the Legal AF YouTube channel as well. That's how you become a card-carrying member of the Legal AF community. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.